Superhero Stuff You Should Know is part of the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Hey, this is Ben from Superhero Stuff You Should Know, and I have an important announcement for you guys. At the end of every single episode of Superhero Stuff You Should Know, you might hear us shout out to our fans, one of whom is Matt Herring, who was one of the original Superhouse fans. He's always given us his support, and now it's time that we support him. We've just recently found out that Matt has been diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And as a cancer survivor myself, I know personally that there's a lot of emotional and financial strain that comes into that. His wife, Kelly, has set up a GoFundMe account at gofundme.com/f/Matthew-kicks-cancer039s-butt. And hopefully you can help reduce the financial strain to that, as well as some of the emotional strain that comes with that. Again, that's gofundme.com/f/Matthew-kicks-cancer039s-butt.
Matt Herring was the first, I guess you could say, true Superhouse fan. We were Superhouse at that time. You know, the first fan of this podcast and what we do here, and has always supported us, talked about us, and he's from a town close to where I'm from, and so we share that as well, and just a huge superhero fan, and, you know, nerd like the rest of us, and now he's going through that, and if you could donate just at least any amount of money to that link that Ben just said, that would be truly appreciated. Just hang in there, Matt. You'll beat this thing soon.
March 2020. Looks like there's a pandemic that hits America. This is bad, Otis. Real bad. Do you know why?
Why's that, boss?
Because the world's running out of Kleenex. I eat Kleenex. Lots of it.
Wait a second, boss. Run that by me one more time. I thought you said to me, you eat Kleenex.
It's a nervous habit, okay? Here's... I gotta eat it. Much better.
I'm really weirded out right now.
Doesn't matter. Otis, you should go to Walmart. Get as much Kleenex and toilet paper as possible. Otherwise, I'm gonna starve, Otis. You realize that?
I'm surprised a man of your stature chooses Walmart. I thought that you would choose Target.
Otis, that may be so. But we're gonna need as much money as possible to be saved up.
Save more, pay less, or whatever Walmart's slogan is. I get you.
I never took you to be one who really cared about this.
Well, I guess all Kleenex are made equal, I guess. The
most delicious ones are from the Kleenex brand, by the way. Do not get me any of that cheap, great value brand that they sell over there. I want the gourmet shit.
Gourmet Kleenex, got it. And basically just buy all of them and not care about who gets any more after that.
That is the Luthor way.
Got it, boss. So I'm going to get 5,000 Kleenex boxes for you to... How many of these things you eat a day?
I eat 3 boxes.
3 boxes a day, man?
Yes.
Got it, boss.
Cut to, Otis has now returned from Walmart.
All right, I got it, boss. 4,000 wet wipe boxes.
Wet wipes? Otis, I told you to get Kleenex. I can't eat these wet wipes.
They've got the sauce already on them.
I can't eat that. That stuff will kill me. Do you want me dead, Otis?
No.
Why do you say it that way?
Wet wipes, Kleenex, Mr. Luthor. Who gives a fuck?
That's what I get for hiring on Craigslist. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Superhero Stuff You Should Know in our 5-part coverage, it looks like, of the Superman 78 movie. That wasn't even a joke. It is going to be 5 parts.
You asked for it. You got it.
You asked for Superman Deep Dive. So this is Ben, and I'm here with Andrew.
The deepest dive you can get, y'all, at the Ben Cave, a.k.a. the Bat Bunga Bunga Lounge.
I did say that this is like the most important superhero movie of all time.
Yeah, and this is coming from you, a Bat fan.
Yes, because of the fact that without this, we wouldn't have Batman 89 or Batman Begins or the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, really.
Yeah, it all starts here. And also what Kevin Feige said something to, Zack Snyder or somebody? Somebody at DC was like, I don't know how it happened. It was like, hey, how do we make a good movie? And then Kevin Feige was like, look back to your own movie, Superman 78.
It's kind of embarrassing, honestly, that he had to tell that to them.
It's a paraphrasing, I think, but it was along those lines.
Gotcha. All right, well, we're going to dive into, if you haven't checked out the first two parts, part one was about the making of the movie, all the insane stories that led up to the development of it, and part two
It
was...
ends after 90 minutes at the opening credits of the movie.
And then part two is the opening credits of the movie that take us into Krypton, Smallville, and then finally Metropolis, and that's where we ended off. So we're going to actually dive into some Superman scenes here. Are you excited?
We did do Krypton before.
Yes, we did. We did.
Part two.
Yeah, and the last we saw, Superman is, well, now Superman in the Fortress of Solitude, and is flown towards the camera, and we cut to Metropolis.
This is when he says, "Father." Do you know what I'm talking about at all?
I think that's in the second one.
Father. Okay. So the way he says that line is funny to me.
Yeah. So we were supposed to get an original intro to Clark Kent here, where the Andrew is in the Superman script.
If you can see it at all, I'll try to fix
shirt.
it in the video, but I know Superman's about having color and bright and all that, but I like to wear black shirts, and I got a black on black Superman shirt. Plus, I don't like to stand out that much, but yes, I'm showing my support.
Make it silver, like
the silver.
I'm sure the black suit's going to be like that.
That's true.
Snyder cut.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were supposed to be introduced to the adult Clark Kent, pre getting a job at the Daily Planet,
right?
Where he's on his way to the Daily Planet and he's crossing the street and he gets hit by a taxi.
Oh yeah.
And Clark would say, I'm sorry, I wasn't looking or whatever, and the driver would look and see there's like a Clark man-made form indentation in the front, and stuff as he keeps walking. Yeah. I think they just cut it because they're like, that's a little too much. Or something.
I don't know if I remember this scene.
It's not in it. It's not in it.
Okay, I was like, what? Okay.
It's not in any of the versions. No, it's in the script.
Oh, it's in the script. Okay.
It's just in the script.
And this is from what script again?
It's from all of them.
All
of them
have this.
It's just not in the movie.
All
in
the
any
scripts,
version
none
of the
movie.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
This is actually somewhat similar to Dean Cain's intro as Clark Kent in Lois and Clark, the Lois and Clark pilot.
Superman there is, y'all.
Where he stops a runaway bus by speeding in front of it and putting his hand up on top of the bus. Okay. And when he leaves, there's like an imprint of his hand left on the bus.
Now, let me ask you something real quick.
Yeah.
In this scene with Dean Cain or any other incarnation,
right,
does somebody use the word dick splash?
There's only been one incarnation of Dick Splash, and I think we know what that is.
Okay. That's the first Man of Steel bash. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Some people are tuning in just for that stuff.
Dick Splash. Yeah. You know what we're talking about.
I feel like that's a Goyer thing more than a Snyder thing.
Yeah,
Snyder still kept it into the movie, though.
I know. Oh,
well. So when we get to the Daily Planet, we're introduced to Perry White, and the Benton-Newman script is, and we're going to run into this a few times, they have these long-ass paragraphs. We encountered this with Superman, where they had like 3 pages worth of description for Superman, which was really just him stepping outside.
Stepping into frame. Into the focus mark. That's it.
But here is their description of Perry White.
And a twinkly smile.
Yes.
Somewhere beneath all that bark and gruffness is this nice guy who loves his grandchildren, but his employees don't get to see much of that side of him. Lois, however, can kid him all she wants, and he gives it to her right back. All this friendly animosity, however, is just their way of liking and respecting each other. The man, the legend, Perry motherfucking White.
There's no motherfucking as the middle name, in case anybody wanted to know if they wrote that in the script.
Lawrence Fishburne, bitch!
Well, it actually was originally supposed to be an actor named Keenan Wynn in this movie. He was originally cast as Perry White. He arrives in London and he has a heart attack.
Okay.
So they're like, we need somebody immediately. And they end up calling
the real guy had a heart attack.
The real guy had the heart attack. The real actor.
He got the audition and everything.
He got everything. He shows up and then he gets a heart attack. And they're like,
holy shit.
For the sake of your health, we got to recast.
What does this guy look like? Looks like Perry White?
He looks like Perry White, but they got someone else who was also, I mean, really, you just need
less surly J. Jonah Jameson?
We need a gruff American man to play Perry White. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
So they call around, and one actor who just happened to pick up the phone was Jackie Cooper, who's the guy who plays him in the movie, happened to be available, and they flew him out over to London.
Funny thing is, Lawrence Fishburne had this role, but he had to do Apocalypse Now, so... he was having more important. He was going crazy in the desert. Not the desert, the jungle.
He's like, I'll pick it. I'll get that role in 2013.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'll wait till the reboot.
Good old Larry Fishburne's playing the long game. And now he's fucking got a lot of goddamn pigeons all over him in fucking John Wick.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that, yeah.
He's playing homeless-looking...
Homeless Morpheus.
Homeless Morpheus.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So this is actually kind of parallel to how Vicky Vale was cast in Batman '89. It was originally Sean Young, and then she fell off a horse, broke her arm before shooting any roll of film. Any
she had the
frame
Superman
of film.
curse. She wasn't even a Superman movie.
It wasn't even. Yeah, exactly. She fell off the horse. I mean, at least she wasn't paralyzed from that. But
that is true.
She basically had to get recast because of the injury, and they called around for different actresses who were. It was less than about who's the best actress and more about who's the best actress available.
I know this is about the Batman
show
movie,
up and
but
fly over to London.
They were like rolling and shooting scenes without her, and then she breaks.
Right.
She's like they've done all the auditions together.
Yeah.
They've read probably all the lines.
There were
together.
table reads, yeah.
Table reads and shit.
Sean Young, yeah.
And then it just boom, last minute she falls out. It's just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, it sucks for her. It really
yeah,
does.
it does. Which is why she went crazy and dressed up in a Catwoman outfit to show up on the studio to try to get Catwoman for the next one.
Oh, yeah.
So, but anyway, Jackie Cooper did not have to dress up as Catwoman and to get a role into this movie. He ended up just getting it because he was available on Superman 78. So that's how Perry White was cast in this.
Okay.
We then are introduced to Christopher Reeves as Clark Kent. And I have to say that... one of the models for the version of Clark Kent that Reeve wanted to do was based off of a Cary Grant performance in a movie called Bringing Up Baby.
Okay.
And he basically made him, I think, here's what's interesting, is if you read the comics in like the Golden Age and Silver Age, Clark is like, sure, he's supposed to be more shy than Superman.
Yeah.
But I feel like the movie exaggerates it further.
It's the most, right? Out of probably
I would say,
most of the iterations of the comics. He's like more bumbling and shit.
I don't even think he's bumbling. I think he's just not... He's supposed to just be average as Clark. But I don't remember reading comics where he's knocking stuff over or not able to open He tries to open the bottle and like the carbonation spills all over the place. Like, that's not really in the comics that I can find. I feel like that's kind of something that they added into this and became part of the cultural lexicon. Like, oh, that's who Clark Kent is. Let's see. The Daily Planet was shot at the New York News Building in New York City. So if you see...
So, sorry to put a pin in that real quick. The Cary Grant thing.
Yeah.
That was a call made by Chris Reeve?
Yeah, that's who he based his Clark Kent performance on.
So he's sitting in his nice Soho apartment watching a 16 millimeter pre-VHS in 78. You know, he's got his own very nice projector screen. And
we don't know. We're just
watching Cary Grant films with the ladies. I don't know. I mean, he was 6'3". I assume that he
6'4".
6'4". Anyway, yeah. I don't think he was hurting. Probably.
Probably not.
Let's just put it that way.
Probably not like Clark Kent.
Yeah.
So the New York News Building in real life does have that globe in the lobby, which I always thought was like, oh, they made the Daily Planet more realistic by putting it in the lobby. But no, that's actually in the real building.
Oh shit. Okay.
So that was cool. It's outside where Clark is walking with Lois that they end up getting mugged in the movie. However, in the original Benton-Newman script, and this is where we'll get into how Benton-Newman script gets more and more ridiculous. As
the divergence.
A lot of the divergences are coming up here.
Okay, here we go.
Where the Benton-Newman script, it has basically the same story beats, but they're more expensive set pieces, just one after the other. So
he was shooting for the moon.
They were,
Salkinds were promising him everything, and he took the bait.
So, and again, I'm going off of the script that is credited to Puzo-Benton-Newman. I don't know how much of this was originally in the Puzo draft.
Okay.
So for now, for the time being, I'm just going to say it's Benton-Newman. Sorry.
Two dudes
and Newman's wife Leslie.
Oh, she did a pass, or she was a major contributor?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So all
that's
three
cool.
of them.
That's cool.
Plus Mario Puzo. So that's 4 writers total so far on this script. Tom Mankiewicz has not touched it yet.
Not yet.
Here it's actually an elaborate sequence where they pass by and there's a liquor store robbery. And the cops show up, and the liquor store robbers are like, oh, shit, it's the cops. So they take Clark and Lois hostage.
Oh, shit.
And they're like, tell your boyfriend not to do anything stupid. And Lois is like, he can't even open a coffee jar. Don't worry about him.
Classic.
And they get caught in the middle of a shootout because the cop apparently is trigger happy. in
Okay.
1978.
It already
And-
reminds me of it's so meta, but the Jerry Siegel's dad, or
Yeah,
you
probably
know,
his
that-
liquor store thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't, it might have been a general store, but it was a store. It was
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
No one apparently notices in the shootouts that bullets are bouncing off Clark.
Oh, shit.
During this whole time, and one cop he's like aiming at the criminal who's got Lois hostage, and the bullet is coming towards Lois, so Clark sticks his hand out and catches the bullet in front of her.
Before she can see it, though.
Before she can see
Too
it,
fast
yeah.
for the human
Yeah,
eye.
Yeah. But that's the way more elaborate version of the same beat, which was Clark saving Lois as Clark, rather than Superman.
Right.
Right now. And then it was afterwards that she gets her purse snatched by a purse snatcher.
So she's just getting robbed left and right.
This Metropolis is like Gotham.
It also, New York was dangerous as hell at this time.
That's true. But it's supposed to be Metropolis.
This is the time. Scorsese 70s are going on right now. Remember that.
True.
And Metropolis, of course, Toronto influenced it, actually. New York, maybe some Chicago. But I've read that like Metropolis is New York during the day and Gotham is New York at night.
Yeah.
That was in some wiki page I read, but I thought, yeah, that's pretty cool.
They don't really explore why he goes to Metropolis specifically.
Yeah.
In the movie or the script at all, but it does make sense that it would be a crime-ridden city. That he's like, okay, this is where I probably would be needed the most.
That, and probably it just has there's only a few areas where you can make money as a reporter. I mean, even then,
That's true.
it's not, I mean, you could work for your local paper, I guess, but he was going for the big leagues.
Right, and again, they don't really explore why reporter, like why journalist stuff in this specific.
Not
movie,
for that, but it's, you think it's in the DNA though.
Yeah, it's in the DNA.
Yeah.
So a purse snatcher takes Lois's purse, and Lois is like, Clark, go after it. And Clark's like, whoa, he might have a gun. So Lois is like, fine, I'll do it myself. But she tries to run after him, and the guys are already far away.
Okay.
So all Mankiewicz did was combine these into a mugger scene that is way less expensive. One actor, one bullet. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's way cheaper and gets the same point across.
It's not bad. It's a decent scene.
It's a
Plus,
decent
this
scene.
was really new at this time for the most part. I mean, I guess it could have been something similar in George Reeves stuff and all that, but God, in the theater though, it was pretty new probably.
It's the Benton-Newman draft where we find out that this purse snatcher is Otis, the henchman of Lex Luthor, who I guess is a purse snatcher and pickpocket on the side.
Okay.
And he goes into the Plaza Hotel into the bathroom, and there's an out-of-order stall. And so he sneaks into the out-of-order stall, and he flushes the toilet, and the toilet sort of becomes an elevator that takes him down to Lex's headquarters. So
thematically, he's a shitty guy. Like what? I guess. I mean, they're not really very.
I think you're pretty much reading into it, but yeah.
Subtlety is not something It's not really part of comics. So.
Right. So that's in the Benton-Newman draft. Mankiewicz revises this where the cops, if you remember in the movie, the cops see Otis and like, oh, he could lead us to Lex Luthor, and they follow him into the train station where one of them gets caught and dies. In the process.
Yeah.
Fun story is that the cop who survives is actually Steve Kahan, Dick Donner's cousin. The director's cousin is playing the other cop, and he would later on play the captain to Mel Gibson and Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon.
Okay.
Which was also directed by Richard Donner, of course.
Right.
So that's an interesting tidbit. We first hear Lex in the movie with the line, "It's amazing that brain can generate enough power to keep those legs moving." He's talking about Otis. And that is all Tom Mankiewicz.
Oh, really?
There.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a Tom Mankiewicz line.
That's
That is
interesting.
not in the Benton-Newman strip at all.
Right.
Mankiewicz has a completely different version of Lex than what you're going to find in the Benton-Newman script. But Hackman, funny enough, surprised Tom Mankiewicz once where Tom Mankiewicz was at a hotel. He was filling out forms and stuff, and then he heard a voice behind him saying, "It's amazing that brain can generate enough power to keep that pen moving."
Oh,
and
shit.
he turns around and it's Gene Hackman.
Oh,
wow. Little Hollywood, little friendliness.
Tidbits
for you.
there,
Yes.
y'all. Hollywood tidbits.
I did bring up that the Lex Luthor in the Benton-Newman script, the original script, was very different from the one that we got in the movie and the one who Tom Mankiewicz wrote and the one played by Gene Hackman. So I'm going to have Andrew read the 5-page introduction to Lex Luthor.
5 pages.
It's not 5 pages, but it feels like it.
He's a bald guy. Well, he's wearing a toupee, I guess.
Where we meet a whole bunch of the henchmen, but Lex Luthor is introduced as, quote-unquote, the most striking of the three. So here we go.
The most striking of the three is a man in his late 80s. He is totally bald.
30s.
He's decrepit as fuck. Okay, Take two. The most striking of the three is a man in his late 30s. He is totally bald. His taste in clothing runs to black. Oh my God. His taste in clothing runs to black. This is a brilliant man, but one whose mind and character have been so warped that all his energy and intelligence is applied to evil and or antisocial schemes. Even more evil. He is a scientific genius who uses all his expertise to further his insatiable appetite for land and, most evil as all, real estate. As a personality, he could give 10 psychiatrists 5 years' work. A genuine case of rampant pathological aberration that manifests itself in a changeability that is so marked as to go beyond the term mercurial. He is 1 minute charming, sweet, paternal with his underlings. The next minute, he can give, and often does, become savage, cutting, sadistic, caustic. He keeps everyone around him in a perpetual state of nerves because they never know whether they will be kissed or kicked from 1 minute to the next. There is in him as well a genuine sense of humor, though invariably warped, and a great streak of self-pity that causes him to wallow to anguish from time to time. His own nervous habits are equally peculiar, i.e., he eats Kleenex nervous. He eats Kleenex?
Yes.
He eats Kleenex nervously, chewing on it to calm himself. The man is an energy center and a neurotic dictator, and in his own way, a compelling personality. There ought to be a sense of delight in him as well. This is the greatest criminal on the fucking planet, and his name is Lex motherfucking Luthor.
Thank you.
1 frame in the movie. 2 seconds.
2
Walk into
seconds
frame.
in the movie, walks into frame.
Walks into frame.
So, okay. First off, he's supposed to be bald, like in the comics.
Right.
He wears all black, very different from Gene Hackman. He eats Kleenex
Eats Kleenex
throughout the entire thing as well. This is not the first thing.
What? Who thought of that?
Benton-Newman. I'm pretty sure this is not Mario Puzo.
He must be on that Donner weed. He's walking around in a robe, smoking a bunch of ganja.
So obviously that version didn't make it, but we're going to be dealing with this version of Lex Luthor throughout the rest of this and Superman 2, because remember, Benton and Newman wrote the Superman 2 draft as well as one movie. So we're gonna be
that wasn't Puzo.
I don't think this is Puzo coming out with the Kleenex.
Puzo did the first draft. I'm missing the timeline.
He did the first draft, but
and then Benton Newman, what we're doing now is based on his.
Is based off his, so it's possible it's in the Puzo draft, but I doubt it.
Okay,
it just doesn't seem like him. I was like, what would be fun? Having Lex Luthor eat a bunch of Kleenex. I think that'd be fun. No, I don't.
What
I don't
is
really,
that all
I
about?
don't really think so. So
what the fuck? Please, somebody comment. What is going on with that?
Yeah, please fill us in on that. The thumbnail should be Lex Luthor with like Kleenex in his on a plate.
Oh man!
But instead, we got the Gene Hackman version of Lex Luthor. So I guess this is sort of leads into interesting discussion in terms of what are your thoughts on the Gene Hackman version of Lex?
I wish he was bald more. I know he takes his toupee off at the end. But I mean, it's a good representation insofar as he kind of talks down everybody. He thinks he's the number one in the room, especially intellectually. I think the characterization is good, and Hackman does a pretty good job for the movie overall. Right. Why? What do you think?
I mean, a lot of people have sort of criticized this version of Lex a lot because of the fact that, for whatever reason, the comic relief of this movie comes from the villains, which kind of makes the villains a little less threatening, even though Hackman's kind of the straight man to Otis, and mostly Otis, really.
Otis is the lead henchman he's always fucking with. That's a little too much at times, but it's not movie ruining. It's not.
I don't think it ruins the movie, but in terms of characterization for Lex Luthor, it feels lacking because of that and the fact that he's not bald. Hackman refused to shave his head for the role, and they had to talk him even to do the skull cap.
Yeah,
he's wearing a skull cap at the end of the first one and into the second one when he's in the prison.
What I heard, though, probably from a YouTube clip, was that they change his hairstyle almost every scene.
They do.
Yeah, to make it seem like he's got a fucked up toupee every time.
Yeah, he's got a different wig each time, which was that was Donner's idea. And
okay, that's good.
Because it's just like, look, I want to honor the fact that he's bald in the comics.
Yeah.
But he's not willing to do it, and he's Gene Hackman, so I can only do so much.
I will say also, Ben, that he comes off as the most 70s looking.
Oh yeah,
his suit,
the suit that he wears when he gives the kryptonite to Superman.
It's not is it a full leisure suit? It's close to leisure suit.
Yeah, I guess so.
He's leisure suit Lex.
This is definitely not something that Lex today would be wearing.
Yeah, I mean, they're all 70s kind of, obviously. I mean, it's still 78. They filmed at 76, 77.
Yeah,
he's the most. Lex Luthor in this movie kind of gives away the time period the most.
Yeah.
To me, I know it's probably an odd comment, but that's why I'm here.
This Lex was also like the stuff with real estate.
Was that new for that time?
That's just for the movie. That's not in the comics at all. That seems like a weird thing. Like, it makes him seem a little bit more like a business mogul than like a mad scientist, which is what the Lex was at the time.
I like him being a scientist more. The real estate thing's so weird to me.
Yeah, but this is kind of started the whole real estate thing that we got carried over into Superman Returns.
You know what they're not making more of? Land.
Yeah. Lex Luthor did have hair in his first appearances, however.
Right, I've heard about
that. It was only afterwards, when there was an artist mistake, that that he had a bald look.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. That's right. I think I've heard of that.
But still, like, to me, Lex with hair is kind of like Joker without the green hair. It's just something's missing.
Right.
In that. So,
right. It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I know this is kind of thought of like probably by it was an accident, like you said, but the thing is, that look catches on with comic fans for some reason in the zeitgeist, in the collective unconscious, if you will, Ben.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, maybe it's bullshit, but I kind of like talking about this stuff. The visual representation of the non-perfection of man. You know what I'm saying? Thematically, it works. As soon as you see him, as a guy that has everything. He's rich, he's smart, whatever.
Right.
He's, in a lot of iterations, he's pretty built too.
Not in this version, but yeah.
Not in this version, but yeah. So like, he's close to Superman in a lot of ways, but I think it's, especially comics, visual medium. It's a visual cue that. I mean, no offense to anybody bald out there, but like, how do I say this? Maybe I should backtrack.
You dug the grave. I'm just watching you dig.
Is what I'm saying making sense whatsoever?
Yes, to me at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. I just think there's a look. They put a lot of bullshit out there, and some things catch, some things don't. I think the same thing happened with the Joker. A lot of fucking all of a sudden, comic books are flying off the shelf because of this one fucking villain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Crazy Quilt wasn't doing it, but Joker was. I don't know in the timeline. You know what I'm saying? Whoever was Superman was fighting before that didn't. I don't know. It just works over time, and maybe that visual probably goes a long way.
Yeah, I would think so. Unfortunately, that
just
wasn't
sucks
carried
why
over
it
here.
didn't carry over. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even Jesse Eisenberg's one scene in Justice League where he's got the bald head in the suit, I was like, you know what, he's not bad. That was the only time I was like, you know what, he's not bad, simply because he had the bald look. It's just something about that that helps make it more Lex.
That guy, oh God, what's his name? He used to make Superman commentary videos. Max Landis.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen those videos?
Yeah.
Supposedly, again, I don't know for sure, but the rumor was Eisenberg was basing his Lex Luthor on the YouTube videos of Max Landis. And I gotta say, he did have a point. He does seem to love Superman. I give him that. But there was... Actually, let's move on from that, Ben. Let's move on from that. Is American Alien? I like that too. I did read that. You read that shit?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it was good.
It's got Batman in it too.
Yeah.
So
I forgot about that, but yes.
Let's see. Gene Hackman also had a mustache during this time, and he was refusing to touch that too. This is almost Cesar Romero.
Well, you're not Cesar Romero.
Yeah, exactly. And Donner had to talk with him, and they were on set, and Hackman was there to show up for shoot, and Donner's like, you gotta shave your mustache. And Hackman's like, I don't want to shave my mustache.
It's the 70s, and this stash is getting me laid.
So Richard Donner's like, okay, how about this? You shave your mustache, and I'll shave my mustache. How about that?
Oh, Donner had one too?
He had one too.
Oh, yeah.
And Hackman's like, okay, sure. So he goes and he shaves it off, and he goes back on set, and he's in the costume and everything. He shows up, and Richard Donner's doing the shoot, and he's like, well, Dick, he says to Donner, he's like, you should shave your mustache too. And Donner's like, oh, yeah, that's right. And he peels the mustache that makeup had given to him just so that he could pull this on Hackman.
Again, it goes to show you that to make it in Hollywood, especially at that time, you have to fucking manipulate people. He's manipulating Marlon Brando. He's manipulating fucking Gene Hackman.
But we would have gotten a worse movie if he hadn't done that.
Oh,
Jor-El would have been a green bagel or a green suitcase or a bagel, and Lex Luthor would have had a mustache on top of hair. So, thank God, Richard Donner.
Yeah, Donner at least got us that far. That's good. That's incredible.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Hackman comments on this. He gives the story on one of the featurettes. But yeah,
amazing, man, amazing.
There were originally supposed to be 3 members of his gang. In the movie, it's 2. It's Otis and Miss Tessmacher.
Okay.
There was supposed to be a 3rd member named Albert, who was supposed to be Lex's personal architect and aide in engineering and planning, and it was also heavily implied that he was a Nazi.
Oh man, how political are we gonna get in this episode, Ben?
Just saying what happened.
We just had an election.
Just saying what happened in the script.
Yeah, I got you.
Lex also has a constant nervous twitch where he keeps saying, I hate Superman,
Was that Hackman's thing?
No, that's just in the Benton-Newman script. It's not in the Mankiewicz version at all. Mankiewicz just did away with
him carving his own thing.
Yeah, either Benton or Newman came up with that. I don't know.
I have a friend from high school whose dad had some nervous tick where he said, it after almost everything. It was...
Yeah.
It exists, but not for Lex Luthor.
He keeps saying, as in, I hate Superman, I got the kryptonite, And then he gets driven nuts when Albert or Otis is just like, yeah, I know. He's like, stop saying when I say I know he says. So that's...
It's like when people say, I'm not going to lie. It's like, look, if you didn't say you're not going to lie, I don't know if you're lying or not.
Let's see. Albert has done this whole set of miniatures of California. This is sort of foreshadowing the earthquake stuff that's going to happen later.
Oh, yeah.
And it includes a tiny little taco stand that says Poncho's Taco Palace on there. And we'll end up meeting those much later. You'll have to wait to part 5 for that to pay off.
Holy shit.
But Lex is obviously using this miniature to map out his plan for the earthquake.
Okay.
And this kind of feels like the precursor to Superman Returns, because in Superman Returns, there was this giant room of miniatures that he tests the crystal on, and it destroys all of it.
Oh, right. I saw that twice in the theater,
yeah.
And I haven't seen it since then.
And you forgot everything since.
Almost everything. Remember, he gets stabbed by kryptonite, and then picks up a fucking island of kryptonite?
Yeah, he does.
All right, let's move on.
We'll cover that. Superman Returns deep dive for everybody.
The sigh should say it all, ladies and gentlemen.
Lex... It mentions his father in the movie as well as in the original scripts. He talks about how, you remember what my father used to say to me? And Miss Tessmacher's like, get out. And Lex is like, ha ha, before that. In the script, he's actually identified as Arnold Buster Luthor, the most inept check forger of all time.
Arnold Buster Luthor
is Lex's dad's name in the scripts. This was cut, however, from the movie.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, this is not the first time Lex's dad has been brought up in canon or whatever. Originally in the comics, his father's name was Jules Luthor.
Okay.
And Jules Luthor disowned Lex because of his criminal activities.
He's got to be a bastard.
Moved the family. And
he's a good guy then. If he.
Basically the idea was Lex was the bad apple of the entire Luthor family.
Yeah, because he thinks he's too big for his britches.
Right.
It's ego. It's narcissism. Yeah.
And then Jules moves himself and the family and Lex's sister and changes their name to Thorul. Thorul. So basically Luthor, but you took the Lu and you put it at the end.
By the way, Thor is public domain because it's real mythology. DC could make their own Thor line. There could be a Thor
well.
from DC.
Obviously, the most famous version of Lex's dad was Lionel Luthor in Smallville, as played by John Glover.
Oh, yeah.
And that one
Yeah.
was kind of pretty much like already like who Lex would become as his dad.
As far as Luthors are ranked,
yeah.
that guy in Smallville is like one of the top.
Oh, in terms of best Lexes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Rosenbaum is up there. I'd say Rosenbaum and John Cryer are probably the best ones. John Cryer, like Rosenbaum.
He's the animated one, right?
No, he's live action in Supergirl.
Oh yeah.
And he's got the
yeah.
Lexo suit and everything.
Oh
and,
shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
He even has his own Otis and Miss Tessmacher, but they updated them to be more modern
Okay.
on that. But yeah, I mean, Rosenbaum spent most of the seasons in this descent from good guy to bad guy, and we never really saw him like go up against Superman so much. So, but I mean, he was fantastic in it.
Okay.
I'm saying they're playing different versions. So, like Rosenbaum is like very much like the Lex Luthor in the beginning of his career,
Right.
whereas John Cryer is playing pretty much like the established Lex Luthor who's been in prison
Okay.
and stuff like that. So, different takes, but I think they're both fantastic.
Okay.
Let's see. In the 3-hour version, there are Luthor's babies. He says to Otis, "Feed the babies." I don't know if you've seen this.
They're what, dogs?
No, well, it's not revealed in the actual movie. So if you see the 3-hour version, he says, "Otis, feed the babies." And Otis is like, "I don't want to do it, Mr. Luthor." And
They're Harley Quinn's hyenas? Oh, she's not around yet.
she's not around yet. No. So Otis opens up this one door, and you just hear the sounds of what it could be alligators, could be dogs, or whatever. And he brings down this carcass of meat, and then when he brings it back up, it's a bunch of bones. And all
I
that.
remember that.
It's in
Okay.
the 3-hour version. So if you haven't seen that
I
version,
saw it, I think, but Jesus.
it's done.
I'm not one of those
Yeah.
guys that like, some people can watch a movie once
Right.
and then remember every fucking little thing about it.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people like that. Maybe
Right.
you're like that. I don't actually know, but I'm just not. I forget fucking all kinds of shit. So
So it might have been in that version, it might not have been. But in the script, in the Benton-Newman script, it was actually going to reveal who the babies were.
okay,
So it was described as baby alligators and giant albino alligators, as well as enormous turtles with American flags and mottos on their backs. I don't know what that is. And then giant swimming rats, snakes, eels, and God knows what else. And
sharks
then-
with laser beams on their head.
Sharks with freaking laser beams on their head. Yeah. And then Lex
Love
does the whole baby pet talk, that you do for the pets. You're just like,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
the cutest thing. Yes, you are. But he does
Yeah.
that to the albino alligator,
Okay,
whose name is Simba, funny enough.
weird.
Decades
Okay.
before Lion King. But yeah, this is...
Yeah. Okay.
So all of this, needless to say, was cut.
Seems like a waste of time.
Let's see. There's not much to go into with Otis. He's still an idiot in all versions of this. Ned Beatty
Right.
does a great job at playing an idiot in this.
Yeah.
Because he can play a menacing character if he
Right.
wants to, if you've seen Network. Miss Tessmacher was originally supposed to be a bigger star.
Okay.
They were originally going to go for Anne Margaret or Goldie Hawn for the role.
Okay.
But the Salkinds were not willing to pay either actress the amount that they wanted, so they had to go with
We already
unknown.
got one broad in this picture. His
So
name
they
was
are-
Margot Kidder.
They had to go with Valerie Perrine, who, and this is her most famous role, is
Okay.
as Miss Tessmacher in this. In Mankiewicz's script, Miss Tessmacher asks, "Why do so many people have to die?" And Lex does the whole, like, why? Why does the phone always ring when you're sitting in the bathtub? That type of stuff. In the original script, he says
He's
more.
so smart, y'all.
Yeah. In the original script, he says more, where he's like, "Why do restaurants call animal intestine sweetbreads? Why would the most brilliantly diabolical leader of all time surround himself with total incompetence? Why, in fact, does the chicken cross the road?"
Is
And
that leader Hitler he's talking about?
he's talking about himself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just thinking maybe he thinks Hitler's the best or something.
No, he's talking about
The
himself.
Nazi thing's in my head now,
There's
Ben.
no. He's only hired a Nazi. He's not a Nazi himself.
If you
He's-
hire a Nazi,
He's a.
I don't know, man.
he,
You're not
it's
always
just-
guilty by association, but
he might be sympathetic.
if there's
doesn't
any
condone
Nazi,
it,
if there's any
but-
Nazi in your pool, your sphere of friends,
It's not his place to say.
yeah.
And,
I don't know. I just don't know.
so
I
Lex-
just don't know,
Lex
Ben.
throws in, "Why does the chicken cross the road?" And Otis proudly says, like, "To get to the other side." And Luthor just stares at him. And Otis is like, "I'm wrong again, aren't I, Mr. Luthor?" And Lex is like, "No, Otis, as a matter of fact, I stuck that last one in especially for you." So
Okay.
this is the humor that we get in the Benton-Newman draft. Nice 10 pages of Lex Luthor and his henchmen where he's eating Kleenex and feeding albino alligators and talking sweet baby talk with
it's
them.
not great looking back, but you got to remember the writing process. This movie's not made yet. And, I mean, to tell me your writing process, sometimes you write a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, I agree.
And let it come, like, all out, and then you edit after that.
However, I'm not adapting. I'm not charged with adapting at this point. Let's see. Basically 40 years of comics
Right.
that have already been established, where there's plenty of comics to go off of for Lex Luthor.
So you probably could have
just drawn off of that.
trimmed the fat more.
Yeah, or gone more off of what was in the comics. There's nothing in the comics where Lex is eating Kleenex or has Otis or Miss Tessmacher or
That is
hires
true.
a Nazi.
That is true.
Or
That
any
is
of those
true.
things. It's just all, for whatever reason, they decided, let's stay true to everything else in the mythos, but then make our own shit up with Lex and make that funny.
Right.
I don't know where the mentality comes from that, but that's what it is.
They wanted a comic relief probably because you can't make Superman too funny himself. Lois Lane's not inherently
True, but
too
I mean,
funny.
like Jimmy Olsen, maybe, like somebody who's also
Olsen would have been a good pick probably.
You know, you don't make it the villains. The villains are supposed to be threatening.
Right.
So
that is true. That is true.
That's my principle. So to me, like, Gene Hackman is giving a great performance in this, but he's somebody named Lex. He has some of Lex's attributes, but it's difficult for me to be like, oh yeah, that's Lex Luthor.
That's true.
For me personally,
it's not the best, but
Yeah.
it's still one of the best movies, superhero movies ever. So.
Of course. So when we get
yeah.
back from the break, we will dive into what happens with the other characters who aren't Kleenex-eating Lex Luthor and his Nazi sympathizing
Beppo.
cohorts. Yes.
Beppo's in it.
Beppo's coming up. Part 2.
Hello, Gov. It's nice to be here in the Batcave again.
Hello, Superman. To be honest, Clark, I thought you sound a little different.
Well, the name's not Clark, it's Colin. But yes, as my ship landed in jolly old England.
Right, jolly old England. So, anyway, I had a question for you. Your glasses, when you're Colin, what are they made out of? They seem to be indestructible.
Well, bros, nothing gets by you. These are not your normal glasses, you see. They were made from special glass from the spaceship when I was a baby. Again, that landed in England.
Right. I think I can kind of tell it landed in England. I was just wondering, because of the fact that, can't you just take your glasses off when you're trying to do heat vision? Like, why do you need to wear the glasses that are indestructible?
Well, British society, Bruce, as you know, maybe as a new American royalty, as some of the tabloids like to call you, we like to keep a stiff upper lip and not cause too much trouble, you see. And even the act of taking off my glasses without anyone even seeing powers at all would upset some around me.
Okay, so your lenses are indestructible.
That is correct, Bruce.
So how did you turn the windshield of your spaceship into glasses?
They're indestructible to my heat vision, but they are destructible to kryptonite beams.
Wait, what kryptonite beams?
Don't worry about that, Bruce. I've said too much.
Let me just log this into weaknesses in your file in the Bat computer real quick.
And then what if I were to...
Colin, you destroyed my hard drive. Do you have any idea how much that cost?
Well, Bruce, I'm sure you could cover it.
You broke it. You buy it.
Cheers, mate.
God damn it.
All right, everybody, if you like that little preview to the sketch right there, we have that plus news, plus we're bringing back some opinion pieces and review type stuff and all kinds of stuff in our $5 tier on Patreon. So just go to patreon.com/superherostuffpod, and if you become part of the $5 tier, you can see these new bonus episodes. Basically, consider it Superhouse DLC.
Oh, well, I should have known you'd end up here, with your dear old Uncle Joker deep inside you. Inside of your ears, that is. Get your mind out of the gutter. Are you sure you're even still listening to superhero stuff you should know at this point? Or is it all inside of your head? Well, either way, you've got to be crazy to keep listening to this drivel.
And we're back, y'all.
Indeed. All right, so that was enough of Lex Luthor for this episode, but we're diving into the second half where we go into Clark and the debut of Superman.
And there's no Kleenex eating.
There's no Kleenex eating in this part.
Okay.
You guys will have to tune into the next episode for more Kleenex eating if you wanted that.
He was on that Donner Chronic.
I guess, yeah. So Clark and Lois have their scene at the Daily Planet where Clark is like trying to ask Lois out.
Okay.
In this next part of the movie.
Oh, gee whiz, Lois.
Yeah, and Mankiewicz has Clark actually warn Lois against smoking. He's like, oh, gee whiz, that thing's going to kill your lungs.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And Lois actually ignores him at this point. And that's sort of
Right.
planting what happens later because Superman's going to tell her, like, you really shouldn't smoke, Miss Lane. And then
Right.
she actually listens to him
Right.
when he's Superman. Poor Clark. So anyway,
Yeah.
Lois is on her way to go up to the helicopter in all versions of this draft. So this is where Superman's debut is going to be, is where he saves Lois in the helicopter.
Okay.
This sequence was originally supposed to be shot at the Pan Am building, which is now the
Okay.
MetLife building. However, there was a real-life helicopter accident that happened on that rooftop that killed 3 people.
Oh, shit.
So they're like, we probably shouldn't also film a helicopter accident on this
That's
building.
nuts.
So
That's some Simpsons predicting reality kind of shit going on there.
So Donner was like, no way. And so they moved it to, I believe, the top of the U.S. Post Office building.
It would be bad juju.
Yeah,
It was.
exactly.
I mean, I'm a skeptical person, but it could, that kind of thing could change how the vibe on set.
Yeah.
Yeah, the vibe on set for sure.
So in the Benton-Newman draft, it's just strong winds that cause this helicopter to go haywire, as opposed to in the Mankiewicz draft, where it's like one of the cables that gets caught among the on the bottom of the helicopter that makes it not be able to take off.
Okay.
So down below, Clark sees Lois, and he springs into action, and he decides, I gotta change into Superman. So in the Benton-Newman draft, he sees a phone booth, and he opens the phone booth only to see an old lady in it who's just like, get your own phone booth. So needless
Now,
to say,
kids, phone booths are these booths in cities that there was a telephone, and you didn't always have a phone on you at that time. And you had to put a quarter in, generally, or maybe 2 to make a phone call.
maybe, yeah. Or more, depending on how much time you were going to spend on it.
Yeah, maybe even more. So there you go. There's your lesson.
Yeah. I think they basically wanted to say, like, you think you're going to get the telephone booth shirt rip? It's not going to happen this time.
Yeah, I don't like it when they do that. Just fucking go into it, man.
They made a compromise because in the movie he sees it, but like it's not one of those ones you go into. It's just literally just the half open, the modern day one at that time.
Also, phone booths when it was created were private. I believe they weren't like full glass you could see through.
Right.
So there was.
So that helped.
Yeah, he could change more. It made more sense when they made that idea.
Yeah, but now is in 1978.
Yeah.
Not so
They
much.
were already clear.
They were already clear and also weren't like a full thing that you would go into. It was all open air.
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
what we see in
yeah.
the movie.
Yeah.
So he races down an alley to change in the Benton-Newman script. And in the movie, he goes through that revolving door to change, of course.
Right. Oh, yeah. That was cool.
And then
I like that, too.
Yeah, so he shows up as Superman, and that's where that black guy says that's a bad outfit
Yeah,
when he sees
yeah.
him. And apparently he was going to have more lines, too, where he tries to call after Superman to ask who his tailor was.
Oh,
But,
really?
yeah.
They cut him, though?
They cut that,
He said 'em,
probably for
though.
the better. Yeah.
He said the lines,
I
though?
have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Okay.
It's in the script.
They probably did play around with that, though, I can imagine.
Probably.
Yeah.
But they did try to do a joke where people see Superman flying up to the helicopter and do the whole, like, look, it's a bird. No, it's a plane. And then someone else is
Right.
like, well, damned if I know what it is.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah.
They were already trying to mess with it at that point.
They were, yeah. They were trying
Okay.
to go off of that. Because I think they were, funny enough, this is like the original superhero movie in a way, but they also were still trying to flip the known Superman cliche.
Modernize
so that's why
it.
that's why we didn't get the phone booth changed. That's why we didn't really get the it's a bird, it's a plane. And then later on, you'll find out that they do try to do the whole faster than the speeding bullet thing as well.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
that's in it. But instead, what we got was pretty straightforward. Superman flies up, catches Lois, and we got that whole classic bit where, he's like, I got you, and she's like, you got me, who's got you?
Yeah.
Referenced
That's a good
throughout.
line.
But funny enough, Lois does not actually fall in the Benton-Newman draft. She's just dangling from it, and then Superman flies up and just brings them back up onto the roof. Mankiewicz ups the stakes by having just the helicopter and Lois fall at the same time, and then Superman
Okay.
catches both. And then it was an idea from Donner, who's like, what if she falls first, he catches her, and then the helicopter comes?
That's
You
probably
amp up the
easier
stakes.
to deal with
That
too.
too, yeah.
Probably, you know, if
That's-
it's at the same time, it can be done, but it's breaking in the steps probably for the best.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
not originally in the script that way, but the idea of making it double
Yeah.
jeopardy was pretty inspired at that time.
Okay.
Let's see. And Benton-Newman's script, Superman actually has a different attitude towards flying. So in the Mankiewicz draft and in the movie, he lands her and he's like, statistically, flying is still the safest way to travel.
Still true today.
But-
Even though it makes me nervous. You afraid to fly at all?
Not really. Sometimes I worry about a crash.
Oh man, dude. For some reason, I have an irrational fear, and it's just started in the last 5 years or so.
Jeez.
I used to fly just fine, but I don't know. I know it's the safest way to fly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, way to travel, but it's still just nerve wracking to me. And there was one time where we flew from Burbank to Portland, and on the way up, on the ascent, we had turbulence. So it's like going up, boof, like that. There was just something about that
Okay.
really, really threw me off. I was like, oh God, we're gonna die.
Jeez. Well, Superman in the Benton-Newman draft may have had the same attitude towards flying.
And watch yourself from now on with those things, okay? I mean, if the good Lord wanted people to fly, he would have given them wings.
and then he goes off and flies. So I guess
I'm waspy as hell.
they're trying to make him more ironic, I guess.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Mankiewicz
yeah.
was just like, let's not do that.
It's also we don't want. I like they cut that line because people already want to claim Superman in the evangelical crowd too much.
Yeah,
and it's not really the original intention.
Yeah, no.
I mean, God, he is from Kansas and the country and all that. Maybe it's not totally out of character, but if we could avoid it, it might be best.
Exactly. And then Superman would hear that Perry White was about to show up, and he's like, what the
Yeah.
hell's going on up there? And
Yeah.
Superman's like, it's time to go. That's my boss.
Yeah.
and then he would take off.
Yeah.
So that was the original way that Superman was going to save the day.
Right.
The Benton-Newman draft.
Right.
I do wonder if there was some inspiration from the George Reeves show, because in the pilot, he has to save a dude who's dangling from a Zeppelin.
Oh, okay.
So that's another influence, potentially, of the George Reeves show, which, as we covered last time, was the first time that Jonathan Kent died of a heart attack,
Right.
back when he was Eben Kent.
Right.
So that's interesting. There is one little funny tidbit we got to cover, because now Superman has shown up in costume, and that's
Okay.
where the Salkinds were really concerned about what Superman's package was going to look like on screen.
We gotta give him a big dick.
Yeah,
Super dick.
According to Margot Kidder, the Salkinds said, quote,
Margot
"Either-
Kidder was like, we gotta give him the biggest one possible. Actually, I don't know.
Well, she said, according to Salkinds, they said, quote, either he has a big one or he has nothing. So,
Either he's got a big dick or he's got nothing at all.
so
Bob Kane, you agree with me, right?
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We gotta have 10 plus broads and 10-inch dicks in this picture.
So, according to Margot Kidder,
I love that this is a conversation that they had, though, because look, he had the briefs at the time,
Yeah.
and they got to accentuate that shit.
Exactly. So they did give a codpiece to Christopher Reeve.
They did. Okay.
They did, and Margot Kidder apparently would joke around and play around with it all the time.
What, with it on him?
With it on him. yeah.
Wow. God, dude. Chris Reeve probably had to have, super strength and the will to keep his composure.
Oh, apparently he was so in character that was always a point of contention between him and Margot.
Lois, would
Yeah.
you please stop grabbing my dick?
Like, he would always be trying to be Superman and staying in character.
Yeah.
And she was just like, if the camera is off, I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
being Margot Kidder on my
Yeah.
break. So that's where there was a divide. A little
Interesting.
bit.
She grabbed the cod piece though, man.
She grabbed the.
That's
According
funny.
to her, she played around with the codpiece. So
Wow.
that's fun.
Okay.
The Benton-Newman draft then has an extremely long sequence of
I-
Superman's first
Again,
draft.
we can't let this slide. 6'4" Chris Reeve, gotta be packing. You know what I'm saying? Already, we already know that. So we don't even need a cod
Probably doesn't need
piece.
the codpiece, yeah.
He's got one of those Burt Ward dicks. Catholic League is already on the case.
Strangely didn't go after him on this one. So over here, Benton-Newman has a full-on sequence that goes into many pages of Superman's first night out.
Okay.
And we're going to go into what happens in that because it's basically twice as long as what's in the movie.
Okay.
So they do have an interesting character bit where Superman is like, all right, I saved the day, and he's about to go change into being Clark Kent when he sees the burglar who's going up and down the building with the suction cups.
Oh, yeah.
And then he sort of surprises him by the burglar's going up, and then he sees just Superman just strolling next to him down the building in the script, not in the movie.
Kind of like Spider-Man style.
Yeah. And the guy's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So in the movie, it's just he just climbs his way up and he gets to Superman's foot. But that's how it's written in the original draft, at least in the Benton-Newman draft. This burglar is played by actor David Baxt, and this is important because Baxt is plays the first criminal, basically, who Superman stops in Superman 78. But then he would go on to play a very important role in Batman 89.
Oh, shit.
David Baxt was the first actor to play Thomas Wayne.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He plays Thomas Wayne in the flashback where he gets killed by the young Joker.
Holy shit.
So David Baxt gets to be the only actor, I think, who's in both Superman 78 and Batman 89.
Interesting.
In important roles that are extremely minor. But
still cool, though.
Yeah.
Claim to fame. And he doesn't... God, there's a, 10-year, 11-year span between that?
And I don't think it was deliberate, because I don't think, who would be good as Thomas Wayne? The one dude from that one scene from Superman 78 that nobody talks about. I don't think they thought that.
I used to see these suction cup things a lot in cartoons and shit. I used to want those, man. Like, I wanted to climb up
Batman used
glass. Yeah, right? That's something he would have.
The 39 one, the 1939
Yeah,
Batman
right?
had that, yeah.
I want to try those out. Let's buy some. Although, if you fell, it would suck ass.
That would be the end of the show.
You got to have one of those...
we would both be like, sorry, we're doing the podcast from the hospital.
Those rock climbing, those bouldering-like pads, but way bigger.
Yeah. Let's see. So Superman stops the burglar, and he feels exhilarated by this quote-unquote literally high when he's up in the air. So
because he stopped a crime.
Because he stopped a crime, and he sort of does this loop in the air, and this crowd below cheers after him, and he's shocked that people saw him.
Okay.
And he kind of becomes a little shy due to the quote-unquote the Kent training, and sort of flies off abruptly. So it's interesting because it's a private character moment that becomes public, and he realizes oh, people can see me now.
Okay.
People know what I am. There's no hiding anymore. So that's cool.
Any kind of super shit he did before, he did it so fast no one could see.
Just like in the alley with the mugger in the movie. So Superman decides to land into an alley to sort of steal his emotions and get his bearings, and that's when he sees another crime in progress where a bunch of thugs are stealing TVs and appliances and stuff.
Okay.
So he just happens to show up.
Start small.
So Superman steps in, and one crook says, quote unquote, "What kind of outfit is that, you fruit?"
Does not translate well to the modern era.
Again, he's supposed to be a bad guy, though.
I know. That's true.
And this is when the guy tries to sneak up behind him with a crowbar and hit him, only for it to reverberate and shake.
Right.
And that's actually a similar moment in Action Comics number 8, where a criminal tries to do the same thing.
Oh, yeah,
but the
that's
thing
cool.
just breaks against him. So that might be what they are referencing. But there's a moment in here that is not in the Superman 78, where Superman, after they see this, he turns and it says, quote unquote, fist clench. He starts coming towards them, and they all start cowering against the wall.
Okay.
And it shows the Superman intimidation factor.
Oh, shit.
Which is interesting because we don't really see a lot of that from the Christopher Reeve version of Superman.
Speaking of the intimidation factor, that I think it was in, Birthright or something, that scene in which Superman shoots a gun
I know what you mean.
at him, and he's like, I'm going to give you a taste of your own medicine. And then he shoots it, and then he, the guy freaks. He thinks he's going to be shot to death, and he catches it with super speed. Yeah. I thought that guy created that, but that was actually a callback to something in the 50s or something.
Did George Reeves do that?
No, but in 50s comics.
Oh, in comics.
I saw it was 50s, 60s. It was something. It was earlier. The art style looked earlier.
We need to see that more often, honestly.
Yeah, that was that's a really cool. It's drawn a lot better than the more modern version.
Right. Yeah.
It looks really cool, cinematic and shit.
Yeah.
But the idea itself is in some fucking older shit. I was like, damn, man, that was one of the coolest parts. I don't know. I wish it was.
I wish they
more
did
original, but yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
The intimidation thing could be done more often.
Yeah. So Superman goes into another alley where he passes by kids who are about to do graffiti, and so they turn, and heat visioned into the wall is the words "Do not write on the walls."
Except
which
for
is
me.
Ironic. Yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm the
Yeah.
only one who should.
Huh.
And then he saves the cat out of the tree, which is what we got in the movie.
Okay.
And the girl in the Mankiewicz draft, the girl cat criticizes the cat for getting caught, and Superman is like, "Don't be too hard on Frisky. We all get a little scared of heights now and
Frisky.
then." The most cliched cat name,
Right.
in this. And then Benton-Newman have another scene where there's a whole crowd of rich people looking up to see Superman flying, and Otis is in the crowd, and he's taking advantage of everybody being in awe by like pickpocketing and
Okay.
stealing purses and such. So Superman's flying around, and then he witnesses a bunch of mobsters drag a guy out with cement shoes onto the pier and drop him into the harbor. This is all happening the same day, by the way.
Honestly, in 70s Metropolis, which is basically New York,
Yeah.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
So Superman sees that's going on. He swoops down. He uses his X-ray vision to figure out where this guy with the cement shoes is.
Right.
He goes and rescues him, but when he comes back up, he carries up like everything that people threw into the ocean. So like there's like an old boot, an inner tube. There's,
You
like,
should
all this
recycle.
trash. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Which is kind of cool, I think, because
Yeah.
it's another aspect to what's going on.
Right.
So he rescues this guy and depollutes the waters, and then he hears gunfire and he sees that there's a police chase going on, and
Right.
that's where he basically chases after the robbers who are on the boat, which is in the
Okay.
movie. That's in
Okay.
the movie. And then Superman flies over to them. Obviously, we don't see him get hit by the crowbar again because that already happened.
Right.
In the Benton-Newman draft.
Right,
But,
right.
Mankiewicz just kind of combined the two sequences.
Okay.
Where it's here that he gets hit by the crowbar
Okay.
in the movie. We then go back to Otis, who's now walking around with his pockets full of loot as he's been stealing from everybody. And then he walks into an alley only to see Superman at the end of the alley, and with quote-unquote one finger pointing in the Uncle Sam Wants You pose directly at Otis. It says, "And now you." And then he walks towards Otis, presumably to, arrest him too.
Intimidation again.
Another intimidation thing. yeah.
Okay.
So that's
We don't
cool.
get really any intimidation in
Not-
this movie,
at
in the final
most
product.
At most, it's him like pulling Lex Luthor up by the lapels. But even then, Gene Hackman's just like, whatever.
Right,
Like, I
right,
got
right,
kryptonite,
right.
man.
Right.
So after this, we then go to a bunch of mobsters who are doing a drug deal.
Wow, this is a whole movie.
This is Benton-Newman's like Superman's first night out. Is
Superman Begins right here.
So they're doing a major cocaine deal. The script says heroin, but I say cocaine because this involves white powder. And Superman appears.
This again, I've actually never done heroin or seen it in
Yeah.
person. There might be a powder form
There
before.
might be, but I don't know. It's not. It is specified as heroin in the script.
Heroin is such a strong
I just think of
drug
it
for
as
this
like
movie.
Yeah. Another case, Superman appears and he goes into a tornado, and all of the mobsters get covered in either cocaine or heroin. At that point,
This is covered in white.
they're just
powder.
covered in white. At that point, and then
That would make it worse, wouldn't it?
probably yeah. So he takes care of them, and then he
He
finally
goes super breath off of them.
He finally then goes after the mobsters who dumped the guy with the cement shoes. He finds their car, and then he lifts up the back of the car so that they got nowhere to go.
Right.
And he drops it, and they immediately just crash into a phone pole or something like that.
Okay.
Mankiewicz obviously did away with almost all of this.
Okay.
Made it simply he rescues Lois, then takes care of the burglar, takes
Okay.
care of the shootout with the boat, rescues the cat, and then he goes off to save Air Force One. Now that's a Mankiewicz invention.
Okay.
Mankiewicz decided, let's up the stakes here. Let's have Lois on her way to meeting the president.
Oh shit.
That's why she goes to get to the helicopter.
Right.
To get
Right.
to the airport, and then have Superman save Air Force One,
Okay.
which then has sparked this whole thing of Superman on his first night out, basically rescuing a plane, which happens in a lot of adaptations.
Right. That happened in the first episode of Supergirl too, didn't it?
Yeah, it did too.
Yeah.
So
This is a whole
it just carries over.
from Fleischer, and maybe they got that from the comics before that, but yeah.
Now, Mankiewicz was going to have a scene where Lois Lane shows up at that airport.
Okay.
Because in the movie, it's just Superman rescues Air Force One, and then we just cut to the next day.
Right.
That's it.
And there's no papers about it or anything. They're not.
Well, there will be,
news?
but
Okay.
in the script we cover that Lois shows up at the airport where Superman just lands Air Force One safely, and nobody really knows who he is, and Lois tries to get Superman's attention, where she's like, "Hey, remember me? I'm the girl on the roof."
Right.
But Superman already takes off because he's off to stop God knows what other crimes are happening
Right.
in the city right now, because
Right.
I've already spent 20 pages on this.
I just have my glasses off too, so
Yeah.
who knows? I'm not really sure if they'll recognize me or not.
But let's see. Benton-Newman then ends the whole sequence with Superman standing over the city with satisfaction on his face as the sun is about to rise and come up. And that is the end of his first night out.
There's okay, this is a whole sequence, yeah.
An
This
entire sequence, I would estimate a good 10 to 15 pages. Just all on this. Just all
sounds
Superman
longer than
stopping-
15 minutes though.
Yeah, probably.
But it could, I guess, montagey, but still though, I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like a huge detour, but I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I think Mankiewicz did the right thing, because it's
Yeah.
just like after a certain point, it's like, okay, I get it. Superman's stopping all the crimes.
Right.
Like, this doesn't
Yeah.
really have. He kept it to just enough where you get the sense that Superman has found his calling. That's the main point
Right.
of this whole thing.
Okay.
Superman finding his calling. And
Right,
if
right.
you just stretch that out too much, then it just gets too bloated, which is exactly what the Benton-Newman script is. That's why,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
we covered in part 1, when Donner read that script, he was just like, this is a fucking monster. I gotta cut this stuff
Right,
down.
right.
That's why I gotta call Mank and stuff.
Call Mank.
in order to do this. So
Let me smoke a little bit more weed though.
let me smoke some weed and then fly out in that Superman costume.
He had the Superman costume on.
But yeah, that is Superman's debut, and I think that is superhero stuff you should know.
Woo! Goddamn! Super tutelage. Thank you, Benatavius, once again
Yes.
for this tutelage.
No problem. Let's see. We have some fan comments that I'd like to respond to
Oh,
before we
shit.
get into the shout-outs. One is from a user named Camden. He was basically the corrections department on our Part 1 episode where I talked about how John Wayne's son, Patrick Wayne, may have auditioned to play Superman, and that we may see a bit of his audition in the featurettes.
Yeah.
Camden has corrected that wasn't actually Patrick Wayne, it was Don Voyne, the dentist you mentioned later. Basically, Don Voyne was the dentist for Ilya Salkind's wife, who looked up at him, and they were so desperate for Superman actors that they asked him to audition,
Oh,
even though
wow.
he wasn't really an actor.
Right.
So thank you, Camden, for that correction.
Yeah, we have some knowledgeable fans.
We do.
I
yeah.
found.
Please keep them coming.
Yes.
I definitely want to make sure that this is as accurate as possible on here. Let's see. Walter the Wobot is back again.
He's back.
Controversial opinion here. He says, I actually preferred Stalker Channing's screen test over Margot Kidder.
I read this one. Yeah, keep going. So, yeah.
Furthermore, I find Margot particularly annoying in the theatrical cut of Superman 2, but not in the Donner cut or any of the other sequels. So that's interesting.
Okay.
I guess I could put that down to Lester's direction. P.S. Please include more of the wizard persona.
Yes. Indeed, he shall return.
A lot of you guys are queuing us up for our Superman 2 deep dive, which will probably be coming next year because that is 2 movies and 3 scripts that we gotta sort of research through,
Right.
on that. So please be patient, everybody. Let's see. Eric Johnson has commented and said, quote, fantastic podcast on one of my favorite movies. Can't wait for part 2. This is a comment on part 1.
Yeah.
One quick correction, so another corrections department, is that Hackman actually refused to come back and shoot any new scenes with Lester for Superman 2.
I could see that.
Everything with him in the theatrical Superman 2 is Donner footage, except some Lester shots where he is a background extra in a wig with an impersonator doing voiceover, which is very obvious in the theatrical version. I know you haven't seen that, but
Yeah.
if you check out the theatrical version, it's just so fucking, it's so
Right.
obvious. Part of why it is hard for me to fully enjoy either Superman 2 100% is that it's neither fully Donner or fully Lester. There are many scenes that Donner simply did not shoot, and there are actors who didn't come back for Lester. So the Donner cut has to use Lester footage to fill the gaps, and the Lester cut has to use Donner footage for anything like Luthor, or expensive scenes like the White House, or super well done ones like the diner. Mankiewicz's script for Superman 2 Online is fantastic, and would have been a great sequel if they could have come back after Superman the movie and shot a new ending. But that didn't happen, so we're left with a theatrical cut, which a lot of people have affection for, but in my opinion, feels like a cheaper, goofier Walmart brand soda version of what could have been outside of the Donner scenes.
Yeah.
Read how Mankiewicz had the trio deal with the rural cops ruthlessly versus the silly version of what Lester filmed. However, the Donner cut feels like 70% of a movie, a work print, some of the best stuff in either film, such as Brando's scenes, but it also cuts the Niagara Falls, Fortress of Solitude scenes to a minimum compared to Mankiewicz's script because it ended up being Lester footage, so the film feels overly weighted in the direction of Luthor and the trio since Donner shot more of them. It has to make a Sophie's choice of using screen test footage of a good scene or use Lester's Clark chips on a bearskin rug. which you'll find out what that is.
Right.
It has an ending that ended up being used in 1, so it just feels like a repeat, and so on. I wish there was a Best Superman 2 out there, but outside of maybe some fan edits that end the movie without a super kiss or turning back time, it doesn't exist.
And what he was just talking about now, full disclosure, I've only seen the Donner cut of Superman 2.
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen the theatrical cut. I will be seeing that at some point soon. So,
Well, after, because we're covering it.
disclosure to everybody out there.
But yes, thank you, Mr. Johnson, on that very in-depth comment. We
Yeah.
will be following up on a lot of that in Superman 2 because our coverage will be covering all the different changes between the Donner version and the Lester version and the scripts. There's 3 drafts out there online, so we're going to have to do a lot of reading. And sort of form our ultimate cut of Superman 2 with all of those
There really
materials.
should be. Tobey Maguire should do that or something. You know how he does that with, he did it with Star Wars and The Hobbit or something like that?
That was Topher Grace.
Topher Grace, I mean. Yeah, not Tobey Maguire.
The other Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3 actor.
I just found this out recently, but he did it for The Hobbit too.
I'm not
Because
surprised.
he had to do it because he felt bad of playing David Duke, the KKK guy in that Spike Jonze movie. He felt, this is just what I read, but he felt dirty playing that guy, and he had to, as a way for self-therapy, this is how this guy works.
Mm-hmm.
For self-therapy, he had to edit the Hobbit trilogy into something that he thought was better.
God.
But anyway,
Spike Lee, right? Spike Lee.
Spike Lee, yes, not
okay.
Spike Jonze. Spike,
I was
yes.
like, wait a minute.
Spike Lee. Spike Lee. I'm
Got it.
sorry.
Okay. All right.
Spike. I'm a Spike directors mixed up. But anyway, yeah, that
That's
was
a good form of therapy.
yeah,
Really.
yeah.
But
But
you should
the
start editing Superman 2 then.
Superman 2, yeah, I would love to see that. I'm sure somebody that listens to this could
There are-
probably make it.
There are fan edits that I want to check out. But
Oh yeah.
again,
okay.
like, the prep for Superman 2 is going to be ridiculous.
I could see also how Gene Hackman is attached to just Donner. Like that
Yeah.
that happens even now. Like some actors, people are just very.
I mean, he does come back for Superman 4.
He did.
Yeah.
Was his career kind of
I don't know.
not
We'll
good
have
at
to-
that point?
We'll have to look when we dive into that movie.
I actually didn't know that. I never
Lex
seen
is
3 or
back-
4 at
Lex
all.
is back in Superman 4 with John Cryer as his cousin. in
Oh,
that,
shit.
Which is why he
Okay.
was cast as Lex in Supergirl.
I just heard they were so bad I never saw them. Anyway.
We're about to for this podcast.
Yeah, that's true. I'm sure there's something we'd like. Anyway, any more comments?
Those are the main comments for this week.
Okay. Alrighty. Any custom shout-outs other than that?
Those are the main ones.
Okay, cool. All right. Anyway, so thank you, Cookin' Noms, Matt Herring, Elijah B, Shamrock Balls, Aaron Willett, Ian H, Dan D, Leom O, Super Inframan, and Douglas P. Please join the Shasta Army. We have the $5 tier there. Most importantly, that is the tier in which you get the bonus feed, y'all. Check that out. We have one every week, and it's $5 a month. Cancel that subscription anytime. It's not per episode, it's per month. So for $5, you get 4 episodes more than likely.
Right, and there'll be deeper dives into what we discuss here on the main show.
Yes, exactly, Benatavius. And then please leave us a review in iTunes. And then after that, please use your phone recorder app. It's called Voice Recorder, more than likely. Open that up. Record us a little something. Send that something to superhousepodcast@gmail.com. You too can be on this here show, at least orally. And then please leave us a review in iTunes. Did I say it already? I'm Thunderwolf Drew on Twitter and Instagram. Please check us out on YouTube if you're not already. Superhero Stuff You Should Know. Got the YouTube presence going on, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben.
Please follow us on Instagram as well at Superhero Stuff Pod, as well as on Twitter at SuperHousePod. And you can follow me on Instagram at Ben1Rider if you want. Or if you don't, then, go fuck yourself. Anyway.
Wow.
No, you don't really
That's
have
not the
to.
Superman spirit, Ben.
It's a Lex Luthor spirit. No, but
Wow, okay.
You can follow. Please follow us at Superhero Stuff Pod. I actually do not care if you follow me on Instagram. I would rather you follow the podcast one.
I love to see these
honestly, I would too.
comments
So
later on. Love it.
yes, thank you very much.
Krypton!